Okay, so I just came out of the adjusting area and just finished a shift, prime time, and and I know you guys have probably never had this before, but had a lady pop up off the table and say, by the way, I'm just switching to every 3 weeks from now on, so I'll see you in 3 weeks. And you have to picture the tables are loaded, so she was on table 1. There was somebody sitting in the chair, the Gonstead chair, and then there was somebody on table 2, and there was a kid on the kids' table, and then somebody on table 3, and then the hot seats area was full. And she's like, yeah, so I'm just going every 3 weeks. Okay. And so I just responded with, well, why would you want to do that? Because I find that asking questions is always the best thing. And she started to go on about her son getting married, and I said, well, that would be pretty stressful. She said, yeah. And I go, so when you're extra stressed, do you think you need more adjustments or less? And she said, oh, no, I get your point, but I got to go every 3. I just the budget is spread so thin. And so it's important for you to know your fees off the top of your head. So for me, I just said to her, so for $20 a month, you're going to move from a perfectly healthy spine to one that is slowly decaying and degenerating to save $20 a month. And she's like, well, it's way more than that. I says, well, it's not really. You go from 26 adjustments a year, down to about 20, so you're saving yourself 6 adjustments times $40 is $240, divided by 12 is $20. So you're saving $20 a month. And I said, really, for $20 a month for that amount, I mean, if you can't pay it, talk to me about it. If it's just that you don't want to, then that's a different question. And she's like, well, I never thought of it that way. And I said, I understand that. And, you have to have some grace with people. And, it's her first child getting married. She's having to come up with the expenses, with the money to help pay for it. And they start to think, well, where can I cut back? And they just cut back on things that they might think might be the easiest to cut back without actually prioritizing on what would be the smartest thing to cut back on. It'd be a lot smarter for you to cut your telephone bill and not pay, $400 a month for your phone and your daughter's texts and all these different things than to cut your chiropractic care. But it's easier to just say, I'm coming every 3 weeks, because it's less hassle to do so. So I just asked her a series of questions. I was willing to let her do whatever she wanted. But, so I just said that to her, and she's like, oh, okay, so it's for $240. And then I said, but it's not about the money. Like, if this was a money conversation, you'd be here, just looking for extra hours or things like that. Like, if it's a value problem. And I mean, she's been under care for 10 years, so I don't question her commitment to chiropractic, but I question whether or not in that moment she was realizing how important the chiropractic care was for her. And then after she left, it dawned on me. She missed her first year-end wellness report in 10 years, a month ago. She said, you know what, I've been to a bunch of those, I just don't have the time. And so what I said to her was, I actually don't care that you do it this month. If you want to do it next month, go ahead. So it wasn't that I was saying it's okay, you don't have to come, but I didn't also prioritize it. And then I helped her deprioritize her care by wavering. And I know it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, except every little tiny thing that we do to help a patient deprioritize their care will escalate into a decision from their end that they would think is congruent with deprioritizing their care. So the message for me, I don't waver on my principles. I don't waver on the importance of a report, and I certainly won't waver on when is it important for somebody to reaffirm or reprioritize their time enough to come to a report so that they can have a clear vision of their health going forwards. See, when somebody doesn't have complete clarity about where they're going in terms of their health, it's easy for them to make poor decisions. So for her, it was easy for her because she hasn't been reminded in a long time that you have 11 to 13 days before permanent cellular damage sets in. She hasn't been reminded of that in over a year now. And so it was easy for her to make a decision consistent with not really knowing that information. So that all worked out at the end, but it was way more work than it should have been had I just had her come to the report in the first place. Lesson learned by me, and I hope it's lesson learned by you too. Thanks.